Hello and welcome. Andy from Twisted Narrative here, and we are on chapter 4 of Tales from the Smoke, Shadowdark. Before we descend back to we last left these wonderful individuals in the bloody workshops of Dr. Payne, let us remind us of who these players are. We'll start, as always, with you, Fliss.
And I'm never ready for it, Andy.
I know.
Good
Well,
evening.
you never know.
Yeah, well, it's true. You do never know. I'm Fliss. You know me well. We've been playing in a game together that you're DMing for me and some friends for more than a year now. And I'm so excited to be trying this new system. It's been really. I think each session has brought something new and different, so I'm really excited about tonight.
I have to say, I'm learning every time I run it, and I've uploaded a video today about characters for Shadowdark, and I'm not learning. I'm remembering and relearning the things that I used to do that I've literally forgotten I did because you lean into other systems now. And when I was doing that, I'm going, yeah, we used to do that. Amazing. You would used to have a party of first level adventurers that meet a troll, and you would go, it's a troll. Would
They
you
have
would
a
you like
cave troll.
yeah, would you like some food? And you wouldn't go, oh, it's a monster, we'll just fight it. You would have to think. And I'm just remembering all of these wonderful things. So it's a pleasure to be doing this. Anyway, enough
Right.
about me until Malcolm speaks, then we'll talk about me again. Malcolm.
Thank you, Andy. Good evening, all. Playing Shadowdark in its many different forms, really enjoying the pulp option that we play in this current game as the campaign starts off. Looking forward to finding great ways to avoid spending our luck points.
You've just reminded me we get to roll for luck.
You will do.
We do.
We will come on to that before I'll do the recap. Excellent. Thank you for joining us again, Malcolm. You are becoming a familiar face here, which is great. Another familiar face is Kyle.
Good day. Oh, man.
It's a day somewhere in the world, so that's perfectly applicable.
Yeah.
It hasn't gone down yet.
Well,
So.
Go for greetings and salutations next time.
Yes.
But yes, I'm Kyle. Probably fairly familiar. I like to be jumping in and about pretty much most systems that Andy's willing to run these days.
Yeah, which is more or less anything. We did a really fun game of Feng Shui, which was again set in the smoke, but a different version of the smoke, and that was great. But thank you for joining us for this campaign. And last but not least, Brian.
Hi, I'm Brian. I've been playing in Shadowdark for a couple of weeks now. Really enjoying that old school feel to it. Lots of risk, lots of excitement. So just glad to be playing tonight. And quick shout to my wife for thanks for sorting out my IT problems. I'm no longer blurry.
Yeah. Yeah, a big
Thank you,
shout.
Brian's wife.
I'm sure she wouldn't mind us saying her name. Big shout out to Liz,
Yep.
Brian's wife, who not only sorted the IT out for Brian, but she is the artist that did that beautiful smoke map that forms the backdrop there. And I'll just quickly call this up, and you'll see us disappear. This map here as well. Fantastic. So big shout out to you, Liz, when you are watching this. Now, thank you. You have reminded me we are playing the pulp mode of this game, Shadowdark, which means at the start of every session, regardless of whether they are in the middle of a crawl or not, we roll a d4. They lose the luck tokens that they previously had, and they regain them. So we'll do it the other way round. Brian, let us see how lucky you are today. 4 by the looks of me. Well done. Make a note of that. I'm certainly making a note of that. I'm sure that you are by now familiar what you can and can't do with luck, but if you have a question, please ask. Then we move to you, Kyle. Oh God, this
Juicy, juicy.
is looking good. I mean, we are counting down now a 4 and a 3. If we get a 2 now, it's not looking particularly good for you, Fliss. Malcolm.
Be careful, mate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is that a 2?
That is a 2.
Andy,
Yes.
you're making us use this dice roller. I feel like you've got some secret programming skills you've been putting to use.
If only. If only I was that clever. I'm a GM. I can say right now you all half your luck anyway. If I want to, it's I don't need to have any programming skills. Go for it. Best of luck.
Alright,
I genuinely hope you get a 4.
let's see.
What is it? I can't even read that.
Two.
A 2.
Two.
Well, it's better than the one that you was anticipating. So
It's one more than I have hit points, so that's
yeah.
good.
In my video today about characters, hit points. You don't need to worry about hit points. Just don't get in a fight.
Just don't get hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they don't matter. It's only when you start considering that it's a combat orientated game and you charge in with your 1 hit point that problems. And let's face it, if you've got 1 hit point or if you've got 6, it doesn't really make any much of a
Probably gonna
difference.
die
Really.
anyway. Yeah.
Okay, that's enough chat. Thank you for watching to this point. I'd like you, the viewer, to get to know our friends that are around the table, and for us to have a little bit of chat and banter. But now for the main event, as we once again tell tales from this smoke. So our group of adventurers, crawlers, if you may, were contacted by a John Doe, a fixer of sorts, an organizer of tasks to be done by those that wish to remain faceless and unknown. The task, relatively simple, or so it seems, which is to locate the bloody workshops of a one Dr. Payne, enter them, deal with whatever you find in there, but in particular, uncover the journal of Dr. Payne. Once recovered, to bring it back to the Doe at the Three Bells Tavern in the Squalor. They dealt with beggars, the Beggars Guild, and ratters, the Ratters Guild, and located the workshop. Upon entry, they were accosted by some strange monster-mashed goblins, flesh-crafted creatures, multiple arms and mouths, eyes, hideous, loathsome, toad-like creatures. But with the quick wit and words of Gideon, you managed to trick or persuade them that you were, well, friends with Dr. Payne. In fact, he had sent you here. Their dim wits couldn't really understand and they let you pass. You delved deeper into the workshops and encountered a strange, stitched together monstrosity that was munching upon brains. No trickery available here. He most definitely didn't want to see the return of Payne. Battle ensued, and for the first time, we saw the heroics of Hector as he barrel charged and knocked over this 6-7 foot thing. And we encountered a degree of rage or bloodlust from Val as you stoved this thing over and over again with your mace. You encountered a study of Payne and you saw many books there, even uncovering a loose stone, and with heartbeats to spare, you notice it was trapped, for you almost triggered an explosion which would have maimed, if not killed, a few or all of you. But the sharp sight, you managed to disable the trap, Unfortunately, no journal. A few coins, though, worth your while. You carried on exploring, and a number of chambers concerned you. A sealed door of wax and a strange preparation room of sorts with this incredible bulky suit of padded leather coated with strange chemicals. You took that, but deliberated. You entered a very large chamber, the Shadowdark, caressing everything that you could see. Your torchlight, a mirror holding it back. And then you saw it, the thing, a gout of flames coming out this mouth. Mouth, no, more. Some kind of lizard-like head. And then it went back to snoring. You carefully backed out, closed the secured door, and carried on your searches. But to little no avail. You found a couple of storerooms, one with many smashed jars, possibly from that stitched creature that seemed to be collecting brains. Now, did I mention brains? Because one of them, unholy, was stuck to the ceiling, strange tendrils coming out, and it flopped down. Rising itself up, you noticed the brain split almost in two, with a horrible, toothy, lamprey-like mouth. Again, I believe it was Valrond that acted. You all acted, but it was quickly defeated. The other store, though, had a whole supply of various different alchemical ingredients, and Hector's training at the Potters Guild came into great use as you noticed things that could be useful, acids, alkalis, and the like, and taking a few of them, causing you to sort of calculate your gear and your load quite carefully. You cherry picked the best that you could do. Heading back to the sealed door, you begin to expect that the wax seal around the door, sort of jerry-rigged and not done with particular skill, probably is to hold back some either liquid or gas. You'd rather face whatever was sealed away in there than whatever breathes fire. So you quickly went to work upon the seal, opened the door, and lo and behold, it was an alchemist's laboratory. You entered, but before you had even a moment for your eyes to adjust to the darkness the light held behind you, you encountered something. You stepped almost into something, this invisible, gelatinous mass. The battle was swift, and again, it could have meant the end of you all, but the quick thinking and knowledge of a thing made of gelatinous acid, you launched one of the bottles of alkali in it, hoping beyond hope that it might just be the answer. The bottle sunk slowly into the gelatinous mass, and the thing rose up, ready to consume, I believe, you, Hector.
Yep.
The rest of you, horror upon your faces. This is probably the last moment you had before Hector was consumed by this mass. Stepped back, and then the cork came out of the bottle properly. The alkali mixed with the acid, and there was a huge eruption of neutralized goo spreading around this place, and in particular Hector. And I believe, if not, this is the perfect point to carry on our tale. So, if you don't mind, the camera begins to focus upon you, Hector. Apart from the gelatinous covering all over you, which is not causing you any harm, it stings a little, but no damage. What was the camera see?
I pick myself up off the floor, having dropped, being in the front of the party. When I first noticed the cube, I dropped down quickly so that they could attack over it, recognizing that I was not so much a defender but an obstacle. So, being on the floor covered in slime, I pick myself up and I was trying to like wipe it off and clean myself off as best I can. And just, I'm not getting paid enough for this, and that's my turn.
Yeah, what do you look like as well? Can you give us some sort
Oh
of
yeah,
visuals, including your ancestry and stuff, in case
yeah.
people haven't? And please, people, if you haven't, go watch the other videos. But in case you haven't, Hector.
Hector's a human male, dark hair, beard, wearing a flat cap and a red scarf around his neck to keep out foul smells, and heavy leather armor. Not quite as heavy as what our friend Gideon is wearing.
Absolutely.
But he also carries a heavy raindrop, teardrop shaped shield with red paint on it and a spear.
Perfect. And the camera quickly pans round to Ellie.
So Ellie is a skinny, dirty, scruffy-looking elf girl with short, cropped red hair, and she is fist pumping because she just managed to land that hit and explode the heck out of that gelatinous cube. You might be high-fiving another elven character.
Perfect. It was a moment of do or die. For one moment, I believe you thought that it hadn't worked. But victory
We'd
is
given up.
yours. And as you high five Val, what does the camera see with you?
Valron, yes, a fellow elven priest of Geed, the neutral god of the setting and Shadowdark rule set. A little broader, a little muscular for an elf. Somewhere between fear of the possible and relief is her current state of mind. So the high five, though appreciated, probably isn't quite as hardy from Val's side. It's more of a, yeah, we managed that. I'm glad.
Indeed. And holding the torch, I believe, is Gideon. What does the camera see with you?
Gideon is a human, fairly small and pale, but currently is in a extremely bulky suit of armor and sort of trying to waddle his way round the door, just barely gripping on with very thick sort of mitten-like things onto this light source.
Yeah, the more you wear this is the suit of armor from the other room, isn't it?
It is.
Padded, double, triple layers, strips of leather over the padding, and it's from toe to the top of the head, big gauntlets. Sort of, there is no part of your skin sort of showing. And yes, this isn't, whilst it is armored, this isn't designed to really fight in. I did mention clock, so I am starting the timer. And just so you know, this is the timer for the torch, because torches last in Shadowdark an hour of real time. We last left the torch at 41 minutes and 41 seconds. And that is where we started now. The torch is burning down. Excuse me. So, with that, can you all now give me initiative rolls, and we will, whoever gets the highest will just cycle round the group rather than dip-dop. So I have a feeling it could be Ellie with your amazing dex, but we will see.
Not with a 1, Andy.
No? Okay. So who's got the 11 so far?
That would be me,
Have you got any additions to that?
+1 for a total of 12.
Okay, but we've got a 14 there, which is you, Val. or is that Hector?
That's Hector.
Hector. Okay, Hector. So it's worked out quite nice.
But it's Hector at -2.
So is that 12 as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with you being on the floor and standing up, we'll start off with you, and it's cycled round quite nicely anyway.
Yeah.
So the light sort of spills into this room now, and for your first time, apart from your initial view of it, you get to see it properly. There are several long benches in this quite large chamber. Upon the top of these benches are all manner of alchemical equipment, from flasks to small oil burners to heat, to weights and measures, bottles of various liquids, and boxes of various powders. It's relatively familiar to you in terms of you've worked with the potters, and whilst you yourself are not a potter, you've assisted a number of times. So this is not particularly strange to you, and your eyes begin to look around, and there is something that catches your eye in particular. Against what would be the eastern wall is a large board that has pinned to the wall itself. It is blackened deliberately, and there are chalk scrawlings upon it. Again, you've seen this kind of thing before. It's fundamentally a chalkboard, but there seems to be some equations upon it.
I'll make my way over in my turn and just sort of start looking it over. It's going to take me a little bit.
Yeah. So you put your attentions to that. Ellie, what would you like to do?
Seeing that Val's not interested in my celebration, so I might try and high five Gideon in his ridiculous suit as I move into the room and start checking the perimeter for any secret doors or any things that look kind of out of place or
very
otherwise unusual.
Yeah. Secret doors. I mean, no one has secret doors in laboratories, do they? Well, it seems Dr. Payne does. It's not particularly well hidden. A little further along where Hector is studying the blackboard and the equations, you notice something amiss. At first you thought maybe it is this ooze creature that was imprisoned in here against the wall, but you've seen this before. Just a single stone has been sort of brushed against far too many times within the wall, an
It's easy to
indication
spot
that
when you know what you're
someone
looking
has
for.
been pushing it. It's a release. You're not quite sure exactly what it releases. Your best guess is it'll probably open up a secret door, rather than be a trap. You don't think it's that. But yeah, you have uncovered that. Did you want to tell everybody else, or are you just going to press it?
I'm just going to press it.
Okay. You press it, and you can all now hear the grinding of stone against stone. As fairly close to it, you see a door sort of appear in the wall as it just opens up, revealing a quite narrow passageway. The light barely spilling into it as Gideon is at the door. It smells, again, chemically, but it's well travelled. You don't see any signs of dust or spider webs hanging down or anything else. This has been used quite a lot. So that is your go, and then we move round to Val.
Hey Val, look at this.
Yeah. Looking to rush ahead as always, Ellie. Just let us catch our breath a second. which is quite ironic since you've been in the back of the party struggling with light in a couple of the sessions. So give us a minute. Val is more interested in the potentiality of finding Dr. Payne's notes, his journal. Is there a workbench that seems to be more about the writings of maybe
Yeah.
a desk, a writing desk, a place for contemplation?
Yeah. There's certainly a desk that seems to have papers upon it, and you sort of go across there and spend a fair amount of time sort of leafing through the papers. They all tend to be or look like notes. There is nothing that looks like a journal though, and it's somewhat disappointing. They're all sort of alchemical formulas. I mean, some of these could be worth something, but you're not particularly knowledgeable. They might be just common formulas, so it's difficult for you to tell.
I think, given that we were permitted to make of what else we can whilst we're here by our John Doe, Val is going to randomly collect one gear slot's worth of paperwork because that's what she has spare.
It's fair amount as you sort of gather these notes together, sort of fold them over, put them in your pack. Yeah, just put alchemical notes
to go along with my book on anatomy with notes from the doctor.
It's going to be interesting to see where you pass these off at. You've certainly got two fairly legal means. There would be the Hatters Guild. They like alchemical formulae. And then obviously the anatomy. There are many doctors and surgeons that work at the Upholsterers Guild. Okay, so that is what you do. And last but not least on this round, we come to Gideon.
I think Gideon's just going to sort of wander in, maybe move towards the door to sort of shed a bit more light down there.
Perfect.
Keeping an eye out if I see anything of interest. Mainly looking for something that might be of interest to the Beggars Guild, but not particularly expecting to find anything here.
No, I mean, the beggars, they primarily deal with information. So maybe the paperwork that Valron, there might be something there. The blackboard might have some information written upon it. But in terms of the items on the benches, the powders, the tinctures, the liquids, that would be more the Hatters Guild. But you keep an eye out, just in case.
Thought beggars would be interested in spare change, Andy.
Sorry, spare change.
Yeah. Isn't that what the Beggars Guild is interested in?
Well, they deal with information, but you can always give a beggar a coin or two. That doesn't really particularly hurt now, does it, to keep them happy?
What I'm asking is, does Gideon see any shinies?
No. I would have mentioned. I mean, one
No.
does not walk into one's alchemical workshop and
Find
just chuck
gold strewn
coins.
across the floor.
No.
I thought that when the cube exploded, maybe it was like exploded in a shower of coins it had eaten.
You've got a fantastic imagination.
That's why I play tabletop role-playing games, you know.
Ellie.
Might also comment that the whole point of alchemy was to create gold.
That's what Malcolm said, yeah.
However, not by this particular doctor, I'm assuming. So
he does not seem to be interested in metals at all, as you have come and explored so far. It seems that he has a particular interest in mashing monsters together, stitching monsters together, making chiromancy a thing. So, yes, not that kind of alchemist. But I appreciate the efforts that you're trying to browbeat me into just giving you a block of gold for no reason.
We're ever going to get to level 2, Andy?
Well,
not whilst we're down here.
I would like to point out that it's perfectly capable for you to do it if you do things. It is on your shoulders to advance. I merely facilitate that. So work harder, players. Work harder.
Get down this bloody pathway, please.
Yeah.
And I would like to thank you all for a masterclass with dealing with difficult players. Sometimes you just have to say no. Anyway,
But you often say yes.
I'll put a black mark by your name now. This is what you have to do. Black marks.
Shall I
No gold
reduce
star
one
for you.
luck? Should I take one luck off?
No, not yet. You've only got 2, and you're probably going to need them. Anyway, moving on. Hector.
I'm a bit slower than your average wizard, so I'm just going to stand here studying the chalkboard. If any of the other members of the party happen to remark in passing about alchemy and turning lead into gold, I go, no, you have to understand. And I know this being a member of the Potter's Guild, it's in the big clay pots that you find the emeralds. And that's my turn.
Well, it's funny. You kind of you are making out, and all this talk about philosopher's stones and alchemy. They've not said the right words, but you know the right words for it. There's something here, something that mentions upon this chalkboard philosopher's stone of sorts, anyway. But you're distracted by their chatter and don't fully get it for this round. Then we move to you, Ellie.
So how far does the light go down the passageway?
The light sort of goes down this quite narrow passageway. It's about 3 or 4 foot wide. It's only about 5 foot high. So you would, not necessarily yourself, but bigger people, certainly Gideon in his big suit would be able to get down there, but it would be tight. But it sort of goes down a sort of near distance in Shadowdark measurements, but then you can see it sort of bends to the north and south, so it sort of is a T-junction at the bottom. Now your senses kick in. If this is sort of a secret passageway, it could be a way of connecting the rooms without things, but normally when there's T-junctions, it indicates that there's a right way and a wrong way to go, which indicates that there's something good down here, but at the same time, it is probably protected one way or another.
Well, I'd probably like to move down and have a look and a listen, but only as far as the light will go.
Okay, so you can move down to the T-junction quite easily, and yeah, you're aware, making tunnels, unless they are archaic and done sort of in primordial times, it's an expensive pastime, basically, sort of being able to dig it out and then flagstoning and then reinforcing. So it's always the shorter distance between 2 rooms, and when you sort of move down here in this tight tunnel and you kind of look left and right into the darkness, yeah, your senses are determining that there's probably something hidden down here that is good, but it's definitely protected. You can't really see down either passageway with Gideon's light behind you.
I'll just hiss back up the corridor then. Gideon,
Yeah. It doesn't seem
get
to
that
be.
light down here.
Doesn't seem to be any noise coming from either direction either. So
I'll try and be quiet and stick
yeah.
there.
And then we move to Valrond.
Going to wait until Gideon can bring some more light to the tunnels, but also be aware of there's no other exit from this room.
No, just the one that you came through, and this secret door, basically.
Yeah, content that she has found a little something of value, potential and future adventures maybe, but at this point, yeah, I think we need some more light down here, Gideon. Are you going to be able to manage, or do we need to go and resolve the other room before we go down here?
Would like to go back into that room.
You mean the one with the blooming lizard?
Well, I didn't see a lizard.
I did.
It was a fire-breathing lizard as well. You're fairly certain that was no trick of the light.
Or is there a chance, if we pick the right routes through this combination of tunneling, we make our way round where that room was?
If the wrong direction leads to death, it could very well put us directly under that creature within
Okay.
Masak's range.
Okay.
One way to find
Time's
out.
wasting.
Are you done with the blackboard, Hector? Or do you need some
Just
more
need a
time?
little bit longer.
Okay.
Almost got it. It's some strange stuff here.
So yeah, you sort of uncover a few sort of more formulas and some more words. His writing is not the neatest. From the notations that you've seen before, you're fairly certain this is Dr. Payne's writings as well. So you do notice that he's working to create a philosopher's stone, and but it's not a philosopher's stone as you know it, or your other companions were talking about something that can transmute lead into gold. This is something else, something that they've entitled Lusus Nateri, which roughly translates to a freak of nature. This is a thing that is going to convert flesh into other flesh stuff. A transformation philosopher's stone, to mutate, to transform. And
Right.
this is his aim. You don't think that he's achieved it, but this is something that he is working to do down here. So rather than just literally stitching things together and hoping, he's looking to create this flesh transmuting philosopher's stone. So that takes your turn as you're rapidly trying to work out what is going on here. And then we move to Ellie
Ellie.
once again.
All right, Ellie's sick of this. She's lighting torch.
Okay, you're going to light your own torch.
Lighting my own torch.
You have a choice here. Now, you can keep both torches, but both torches, well, do you want to reset your torch to 60 basically? Obviously, the other torch has only got 23 minutes left.
It's still got 23 minutes, does it?
So are you lighting your torch?
I am.
Yeah,
I am.
okay. So I'm going to start a new timer for 60 minutes. As your torch flares into action and light is cast down both. It takes you a while, takes you a turn to get your... I'm assuming you've got a method of lighting a torch.
Yes,
yeah, perfect.
Yes.
You take out a torch and you can see down these two tunnels. Both of them sort of move at a small distance, and then there is what appears to be a set of stairs that go down.
So they're mirror images of each other.
It's kind of like symmetry, making it even more difficult to make a choice.
And one goes north and one goes south.
Yes.
And if I can recall the map correctly, the room with the big fire lizard is to the north. Is that
Correct.
right?
Yeah. Nicely done.
And we haven't been south at this point?
Yeah, we haven't been any further south than this, you believe.
Okay.
So south would be a new direction. Okay. That's your turn, really, to light the torch and investigate. Val, you'll go.
Seeing the torch burst into flame down this tunnel, recognizing perhaps the enthusiasm at the front of the party there, Val make sure she is within reaching distance of Ali, and then whispers, Left or right, girl? Where do you want to go? North or south?
Okay. So you follow up and move to Gideon.
Yeah.
I mean, you can respond to Ellie if you want. That's not a problem. But
I'm having a look, Val. I'm not sure. Something just doesn't feel right down here, so I think we need to be careful.
okay, Gideon, you are lighting this room for Hector at the moment. If you squeeze into this tunnel, which is going to be tight, but you can do it with torch ahead of you, Hector will be plummeted into darkness.
Well, his perhaps rashness may be not my favourite activity. I'm not going to plunge him into darkness, so I'll wait for Hector.
Okay. So we move to you, Hector. You can see the other two have pressed down this secret passage. You, by this mount, have got all of the information. You haven't. Have you got anything that you can note it down upon, or are you going to try and memorize it?
Seeing that the party is splitting up, I'll look over to Gideon and say, "Tell you what, don't wait for me. Just hand me that torch. I'll be along in just a minute. I just want to finish up with this." So if Gideon's all right, I'll take that torch off of him, and as he, I presume, I don't want to power play, but I
Yeah.
presume starts moving down the tunnel,
Mhm.
I'm going to take a quick look amongst the alchemical flasks and liquids in the room. I just want to find something that's not going to like kill me, and I'm just looking for a fairly neutral liquid or a mild acid.
Yep. You look around, and it's easy enough to do. There are plenty of different things here, and with the skills that you've got working with the potters, you can identify a few of these things that are fairly neutral. There's some things that you're not sure about, and you probably think best left alone, but yeah, you can find what your request is more than reasonable,
Yeah.
rather than like ingots of gold in an alchemical lab. So I will grant that to you.
So I will take this just to finish off the cinematic moment. I will take this flask of like bleach, this
Yeah.
glass bottle, and I will throw it at the chalkboard as I walk down the tunnel.
I love it. I love how Luddite-esque you are.
Oh no!
No, I know, but it's
I
just
know what those sorts of things
yeah,
can do, and
yeah. I just love
we
it.
we get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An accidentally burning of pain study, and
Oops.
it's beautiful. And with that, we move to you, Ellie.
All right, so I think I need to start carefully checking the floors and the walls of these two routes, with
Okay.
an emphasis on the southern route.
Southern route. So, I mean, that's what you choose first then. So, uh, you've got an action. So you move forward and you begin to examine the southern route. It looks perfectly fine as you move forward. Your light held above you. I mean, you are at the front now. This is truly exciting.
It feels deeply uncomfortable,
Yeah. You
but I
begin.
am being commensurately cautious.
Obviously, goes without saying, and when you do say it, it
I am
reinforces
going
that.
slow.
It reinforces that 100%. You begin to make your way down, and it's good that you're being cautious and you haven't been lulled into any kind of anticipations of it's clear, because upon the fourth step, before you step upon it, you notice that step is deliberately trapped. Any weight on it will. The whole step is basically a trigger mechanism for something to happen, and the weight upon that step would have caused it to trigger. It's going to take you a little bit of investigation to either decide what is going to happen, but you have spotted it. You are a thief. This is what you do. You've got light. You are being cautious. Absolutely fine with that.
Is it going to be possible to skip that step?
You you genuinely think, looking at the next step down, that yeah, you could, if you want to, step across it. And it shouldn't cause any of your companions, provided you tell them about it.
Even
Prov-
Gideon in his goofy suit.
yeah, I mean, even Gideon, with a degree of caution. Of course, it will be a completely different tale if you were trying to do this in darkness or in a rush. But beyond that, you can avoid this quite easily. So, you do that. Do you tell everybody about it?
I shall be pointing out there's some funny business here, and I think that either means this is definitely the right way or definitely the wrong way.
Then we move to Valrond.
Taking note of Ellie's instruction, though following her relatively closely, steps over the fourth step and continues down the passage to the south.
Perfect.
Makes it ready. There's
yeah.
not a lot more to do until something turns up.
Yeah. No, that is fine. And this is the problem with crawling, is you never know when that something is going to turn up. You descend down a little bit further. Still no sounds coming out. The steps come to an end. There's a little bit of a corridor, and then it seems to move off in. It's quite difficult to tell the direction. It's not a 45-degree turn. It's kind of an oddish sort of angle now, and it seems to be sloping, not steeply, but sloping. Gideon, what are we doing with you?
Just following behind.
Okay, you follow behind, which is not a problem. And Hector, are you doing the same thing?
Yes. I will follow down the passage, stepping over the fourth step. On the fifth step down, I pause just a moment to take the tip of my spear, or like a pocket knife or something, and scratch a big X into the fifth step.
Yeah. Again,
And I'll call ahead. If we come back in a rush, the fifth one's marked, so jump over the one after it.
nicely done. Hopefully you'll have light. Ellie.
I'm gonna, even though Val's already walked, I'm gonna, as I go to catch her up, I'll just have a quick check. Make sure she hasn't inadvertently accidentally walked past something that could have tripped a lesser person, stepped over the tripwire, or...
Perfect. We are now sort of rallying as you are checking for any kind of sort of traps and the like. So you all move together for a moment or two, still in initiatives. The passageway seems to curve, sort of slowly go round and descend as well. You kind of get the impression you are below the sewer systems now and have wound round fairly deep. The passageway begins to level off, and as it begins to level off, you all notice the floor is sort of blackened, and so are the walls, and it's an obvious difference between the flagstones. You've got your torches. You are taking it, so we'll come to you, Ellie, before we move to Valrond, because one is assuming you're the one scouting, kind of looking for the traps and the like.
Yeah. So how big is the chamber?
It's not a chamber; it's still a corridor.
Okay, it's just the corridor.
Yeah.
Blackened.
But at first, from a distance, you think that it is sort of soot or something else, but as you kind of examine it, you realize that is not soot. It's sort of some kind of grease. The entirety of the ceiling, the walls and the floor have been lined with this black oily substance, thick, quite slippy.
Have you ever seen anything like this before? This substance?
Um,
Is it something that's used in traps, for example? Is it something
yeah, I
that's
mean,
used in...
you basically can spend your action sort of analysing it, and you've heard about things. Um, you get a little bit and flick it at your torch, and it just sort of flares up. So not only do you think this is very slippy, you think that it's most definitely very flammable.
I'm going to point that out. Val, and say, what do you think? Should I light it up?
Yeah, standing as far. Can we throw the torch that's about to run out at it and see what happens, backing up as we do? And I'm quite happy to be the thrower at this point.
Perhaps.
Probably a bit of an arm strength.
Okay. It's at this point I want Hector to give me an intelligence check, but with advantage because of you working with the Potter's Guild.
Okay, cool.
Right, let me just check my sheet. I'll just roll this straight, and it'll be whatever the result is -1, because the dice program's doing a little bit silly
Yeah.
with me tonight.
Oh, nice. You can roll that again.
Oh, with advantage, of course.
Yeah. So you've got a 13 at the moment, which is good. So we'll count your 13. As they're having this conversation, and as Val is kind of getting ready, you've heard of such things. Large gouts of flame, they can burn oxygen. That has a number of things. One, it might suck the air out. It might have a secondary effect as well. But what you are most definitely concerned with is that any torches that you've got will be extinguished as well.
As they ask me, because I'm carrying the torch, it's almost out. As they're asking for, I go, you know, not even to get into complexities of it in character. I just say, smoke goes up generally,
Mm-hmm.
and hot air goes up, and if we're gonna burn this, all the smoke and the hot air and everything that's gonna come back up the passage towards us. I like breathing. And
Okay.
I'll just sort of pass the torch forwards with that sort of advice in mind.
So, if we try and take a lit torch through this environment, and we, not to do the DM's job for him, but stumble, trip, have to move at speed, and accidentally light this stuff on fire, it could actually be even worse for us.
Yeah, because then we'd be on fire.
Let us try the north tunnel and learn a little more.
Wait a minute. Didn't we find a trap earlier that was a little bit of flint and a little. Oh, he's a clever fellow.
Gunpowder thing.
All he needs is a little. Because this is down. The trapped step that Ellie found, it's taking Hector even a little bit of time and character to work all this out. The trapped step is upstairs, literally. If he were to set off a spark up there and have that come down here, then it doesn't even go anywhere. If this sets off a big fire, then all the smoke and all, yeah, this is probably the trap. We should go up north.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. So, I mean, this corridor, just so you're aware, I'm not sure whether I explained it, it stretches out into the darkness ahead. It doesn't like come to a dead end. You've noticed this effect. It's very obvious. And then it just goes off into the darkness, so you have no idea how far this passageway would continue. It's easy enough with the torches that you've got to turn round and head back. Obviously, seeing your mark upon the step and avoiding the step that is a trigger for something, you climb over it. and you rapidly find yourself back at the T-junction. Same thing as before, you begin to head down, and passageway goes down, and it kind of heads north for quite a long way, just straight. It then stops. You have descended down, and then it turns without a doorway to the west. And your suspicions, Ellie, is that it is descended down, but is definitely heading towards the chamber with the thing in.
Well, I guess we'll get some action out of that suit, Gideon.
As we're doing this, Hector sort of has one of those sounds from in the back. I've got an idea. It's probably crazy and it probably won't work, but he likes his chemistry, so it might.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at the torch that's almost out and goes, do we want to try and go ahead, or do we want to try my crazy idea?
Just how crazy do you want to be?
I'd rather try my crazy idea first than fight some giant lizard that breathes fire.
Sounds
Maybe
like
a
a plan.
pork.
Right. So I'll turn around and go back to the alchemy lab as quickly as possible, recognizing that time is running short.
So
in fact,
do you go by yourself?
Yes, Gideon's wisdom score is even lower than his intelligence. So
You mean Hector's?
sorry, Hector's.
Don't trash talk Gideon, mate. Gideon's
That's
star player.
That's lack of wisdom out of character. Hector has a lower wisdom score than even his intelligence. So yes, seeing that he has a torch, a little bit of time left on the torch, he's going to sort of go quickly back to the alchemy lab.
I mean, crawlers. You haven't even got a name for your crew yet. You're getting very flippant. Splitting the party, lighting 2 torches. I think it's time for a random encounter roll.
Is this for Hector himself?
You don't know whether this is Hector or whether this is
no one
the
knows
others.
Anything.
Uh-oh.
So, you make it back to the alchemist's laboratory. This is the one with the board that the ooze was in.
Yep.
Okay. You make it back there. At the moment, are we assuming the other 3 of you are just patiently waiting?
Mildly bemused that Hector's run off into the corridor. I'd almost said darkness, but he's got his own torch, so...
Yeah.
Didn't he take the tranquilizer?
I may have... I was implying this out of character in my own head. But he would have explained... No, I'm not going to retcon it. He runs off ahead.
Yeah, that is fine.
What are you thinking, Gideon?
I'm just thinking that Hector had that syringe full of what I believe was tranquilizer for this creature.
Well, we can have a look for any kind of entrance into the creature's lair. Double check the placement. Can we hear anything?
So are you going to continue onward is the question, or are you waiting for him?
So is there an onward to continue?
Yes, there is.
So...
It's the corridor has turned and is now going into the direction of what that place that contained the beast would be, but quite possibly beneath it.
I feel like we should push on. Just a little bit.
Well, yeah, I think
we know what's back there.
I don't know if those little goblin things are going to be as friendly without me around.
So, I need a quick answer, because we can either just focus on what Hector is doing, or we'll stay in initiatives as you progress further down the corridor. What would you like to do? Are you progressing? Sounds like you wanted to progress.
Have a little look-see.
Okay.
I don't think we want to do anything.
So Hector, on your turn, you move and then move again as you begin to start making your way back. Then we move to the other three. Ellie, are you going to continue down towards the way the corridor's going?
I don't want to go first, but yes.
Okay. So you
I shove Val in front of me.
wow, Val, you'll go.
So yes, taking what light is cast from Gideon's torch as kind of like my limits, I start my way down and around to whatever we encounter next.
Okay.
It's my torch, FYI.
Oh, is it? Oh, yes, you're holding the torch. Gideon's torch is in Hector's hand and he's ran off with it.
Yeah.
Had to do something.
You move forward and again, you can sort of move and use your action to move. So I'm assuming that you are using your action to check for traps. So you're moving
Yeah.
cautiously. Okay, so you move forward. Gideon is the same with you.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yep. Okay, so you move forward as well in your bulky. So just as a reminder, this is quite tight here. It's only about 5 foot high and about 4 foot wide. You begin to move down this corridor. Your torchlight seems to see the end of this corridor, which is some kind of door, but the door itself looks kind of metal, very similar to the door from above. Okay, Hector, you move and get into the alchemist lab.
Yep. Just as I enter the lab, my torch goes out.
Yes.
I haven't planned this well. So I will take the time to light a new torch.
Excellent. I'm glad you were keeping an eye on that as well. I had it going out on 37 as well. So you light this torch, and as you light the torch, you can hear some noise, sort of peering round the corner. Some of these monster mashed goblins. They're just peering around. They don't appear to be aggressive at the moment. Now, this is a random encounter. What is your charisma?
10.
10, so no modifier. Oh, that is snake eyes, which means their reaction to you is not particularly good. Maybe there is hunger you see in their eyes. They kind of begin to move forward. There's two of them. You think there's two of them. There seems to be sort of about 5 or 6 mouths and several arms, but it's difficult to tell. But they are cautious. They don't look like they want to do something to you, but at the moment they're kind of trying to sense what is going on here. Lighting your torch was your action. They haven't initiated combat as yet. Ellie, you'll go.
I mean, I'm going to move up towards that metal door and have a little look at it.
You move up to it, and it is very similar, except this time rather than raising upwards, it slides across. What is even more interesting, maybe, is there appears to be a lever in the wall beside it. Quite obviously, with your talents as a thief, the lever should open the door.
I think that opens it, Val.
Will it open the one above as well, is the question.
I don't know.
Looking at the way that this mechanism works, and it's a sliding rather than a lifting, you think unlikely with your skills.
Okay.
You think unlikely. So, Val.
Tentatively, not entirely sure it's the right thing to do at the second, opens the door, pulls a lever.
So you pull the lever down, and there's a grating of the metal now as the door slides open. And as the door slides open, the torchlight flows into it and lights this chamber. This chamber much smaller than the chamber you believe above it, and it's much taller than the passageway that you are in. The chamber itself is probably only about 20 foot by 20 foot square, and in most of the roof of this chamber, which stands about 10 foot high, is a grating, a grill. And upon that grill, you can see the bulk of some hideous creature. You can also hear the sound of it sort of stirring and the clinking of chains. Beneath the grid is a huge heap of dung.
Does there appear to be an exit the other side of this room?
No.
Well, we don't seem to gain anything from here.
Might be the safest place to discover if this creature is hostile or a prisoner. Maybe it's intelligent and it's been chained and captured here. Well, it's clearly been chained.
You wish to negotiate for safe passage? You are welcome to try, my friend. And Val steps out of the way as best she can.
So to clarify, you step out of the room.
Yes.
You don't enter the room and step to one side. You retreat.
Yes.
Okay, we move to Gideon.
Okay. This is incredibly stupid. Gideon
Right.
is going... Well, that I don't have in spades. I'm going to step in the doorway, trying to make sure my body's covering... Well, the suit is covering as much of the doorway as possible. So if there is any flames coming down, it's going to hit the suit before it hits my allies.
Wow.
And I am going to call up to the creature and say, hello? Do you understand me?
Okay. The scant. Sorry, Val has got the torch now. You haven't. That is correct.
No, Ellie has the torch.
Ellie has the torch. Yeah, I'm just making
But I'm
sure.
standing near the doorway.
So it's quite difficult as you're blocking out the light from behind you, sort of backlit as you move forward, and you get glimpse of this thing. At first, you begin to think that there's not one creature up there, but three, as you see sort of cloven sort of hooves begin to move, some kind of twisted goat's head. Then it sort of retracts, and you see what was noticed before, the head of this lizard upon a long snaking neck, these large sauron eyes unblinking, and a gout of flame coming out. And of course the third head roars, that of a lion. It at one instant to your voice begins to move and is most definitely restrained by the chains, and it causes it to stumble and fall, and its head down, all eyes upon you, and then you hear it inhale. This is where we go to combat. Can you all give me initiative rolls, please?
Oh my gosh.
Does that include Hector?
Not at the moment, no. You are quite possibly in the safest place.
As I'm not involved in this, I have to say, Andy, I love the plot twist in there, because it's just clicked what this creature is, and
A chimera.
his work is what
Yeah.
it is.
It is. I mean, it's what it says in the book.
Yeah,
Someone got you on that.
I'll give you a golf clap for that.
Thank you very much. Who got the natural 20, and what modifier did you get?
+1.
+1, 21. I mean, that's good. I will roll for the chimera. I mean, you are level 10 characters, aren't? Oh no! Of course, It's 1, not the 1 and the 0. Oh well, we'll have to roll with this encounter anyway.
We've got some luck tokens.
You've
so
got backup characters. I'm not
sure it'll
sure
be
if the
fine.
luck tokens are going to help. Although a 21 is not bad for initiative. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure how this is supposed to work, but you, the players, have beaten the monster, so I'm going to let the players go and then the monster go. I think that's how it's supposed to work. But
we need every help we can get.
no,
at this
I
point,
genuinely
so.
think that's how the rules is. If you are watching this in chat and you know better than me, shout up. But it seems that there's if the players beat the monster, the players go first. So with your 21, Gideon, you've got the lead. It is quite obvious this is a beast, a monstrosity, a freak of nature. It is most definitely not here of its own accord. In fact, it has probably been manufactured here. It probably does want release, but it doesn't understand the words you say and just sees you as a potential meal or perhaps threat.
Okay, I'm going to step back and flick that lever.
Fly, you fool!
As simple as that, as you can back away. A lucky chance you pull the lever and the door slams shut. At the very least, you've had a closer look at the thing now. With that, we move across to Hector.
So I am a fresh torch in the alchemical lab, and these goblins have come in looking decidedly peckish.
Hungry. You kind of think that you can see that the saliva coming from their multiple mouths.
I will reach. My pack is sort of still at my feet because I've got my torch, my flint and steel.
It's absolutely fine.
I will reach with as much affected casualness as I can into my pouch and pull out the 3 rations I have and go, "Oh, you guys look hungry. Why don't you have a snack while I continue research for Dr. Payne?" And I will just sort of throw the rations in the direction of the bottom of the stairs.
You sending them down? What?
I presume the goblins are sort of at the top of the stairs or an entrance or something.
Well, the goblins are at the entrance to the.
Yeah. I will sort of throw the rations not at them, but sort of in their direction.
There's no persuasion here. You determined they were hungry. Are you doing all 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a resource and it's better than your life. You cast them out and it works. They descend ravenous upon them, and again you think they're not going to trouble you for a while now. Bearing in mind a ration is quite a considerable amount, so it's going to keep them sated. That is your action, but you have no worries anymore. We move to Ellie. You kind of out of combat. You kind of hear a blast of, hot air, flame, whatever, but it doesn't. This door contains it quite easily.
Still think we should have gone the other way. And she'll start beating a path back to the T-junction.
Okay, you turned, taking the torch with you. Val?
Seeing as the torch is going and there's a flame-breathing monster on the other side of that door, there's only one question I did think Val would have tried to answer whilst the door was open. The mechanism that's holding the creature with 3 heads to the wall, do any of the chains or any of that mechanism fall down into this room? There's a part of me that's thinking, can we pin the creature to the wall in the room upstairs better, tighter, if we were to spend a risky moment in the room down here, or is it just a dung pit?
I mean, this is, and I mean this, in sincerity rather than in my usual GM winding you up. This is not something that I particularly decided upon, but it is something that is definitely possible. So if you wish, one of you, it doesn't have to be you, Val, want to give me a luck token, we will say most definitely. I'm not saying it's going to work, but I'm going to say there will be chains that have dropped down into the grating somewhat to allow you to at least attempt this.
I pass my thinking to Gideon
Mhm.
and my idea, as Gideon is the one potentially best protected to experience the danger side of that conversation.
Yeah. For one
I
moment,
leave it in his hands.
for one moment, we can come out of initiative.
Yeah,
Shadowdark is about overcoming problems.
yeah,
And it's important to have these conversations, decide that you're all on the same plate, whether you think it's possible before you burn this resource. Whilst we're out of character, though, I will tell you that your torches are still burning down, so it's a rapid discussion rather than we're putting everything on hold. So feel
yeah,
free to have that discussion should you wish to.
yeah.
I mean, what do we think we're actually going to find in this room if we can restrain it? And restrain won't necessarily help with the fire breath.
There was a door on the other side of the chamber, wasn't there?
You wasn't
So,
The
sure,
upper chamber.
you couldn't see on the into the upper chamber, but you
No, I
what?
mean when I looked into the upper chamber the first time, I guess I probably couldn't see.
No, you
Just
couldn't
saw the
see.
creature.
I think
He
you
went, monster, and booked it.
you're
Slammed
not
the door.
sure
Yeah.
what is beyond, but the chamber was vast. It's most definitely now, with the information you've got, this is his piece to resistance. This is his creation. There is a high chance that his journal probably is in this chamber because this is where he does his ultimate work. You don't get the impression that this is just a place of storage. This is like the garage, the workshop of workshops.
Okay, I'll burn a luck. Why did I put the armor on?
Okay,
Better see
so
if it works.
well, yeah, I mean that just means there's a possibility chains are dangling down. So with that, Ellie is down the corridor.
Halfway up the corridor.
Yeah, Valrond, you come to that kind of decision. Yeah, you did notice chains that are dangling down. Gideon,
So if we're looking at tying this thing up, would it be worth having another one of us go to the other door and start banging on it to draw us attention before we dive in? Because
seems
it's
that
quite aware of us now.
I mean there's a whole host of options that you have now.
the
But
unfortunate thing is, what are we doing for light sources?
yeah,
I'm out.
Okay,
I have,
Val lights a torch. This is getting expensive. Makes sure that Hector, Gideon has chance to attempt the room
hmm
with as much support as we can give him. Ellie, I'll probably have to run to Ellie and run back again. Give Ellie the idea that we have of trying to
Shout me.
attract his attention.
yeah, you
I'll
can
shout it.
shout. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
So we have formulated a plan.
mhm,
Its value is yet to be determined. Let's
absolutely.
have a go.
Okay, so you're going to light another torch, Val. Yeah.
Yeah, Val has struck off one of her 2 torches.
So Gideon, we come to you.
So I believe we're just waiting for
You're going to
Ellie
wait
to
for
get
Ellie to
around.
come back, and we come to you, Hector. Um, these monster mash goblins are no trouble to you anymore. You've got
excellent.
your time ahead of you. What would you like to do?
I'm going to try and rifle through his chemistry again.
Yep.
I heard, probably amongst the hatters, but the grapevine of arcane
Yep.
practice. One of the hatters came up with this little party trick where he combined some chemicals together and they glowed with a light. And I want to see. I remember being quite entertained by it because it came in all sorts of fun colors. And I remember hearing about it and looking into it a little bit, but it was quite a long time ago, and the hatter's work is not necessarily my own.
Hmm.
I want to see if I can rifle through his chemicals and come up with some sort of alchemical light that, even if it lasts not as long as your traditional torch, would allow us to go down that greased passage without necessarily starting a fire.
I like it. It's very good. Very, very good. And wow.
In fact, because I'm sure it's going to take a roll, but I'll burn a luck token if necessary to make it happen.
No.
I tried.
What I'm going to say is I want to roll it anyway. But if you don't succeed on
No
the
problem.
roll, you can use a luck token to obviously
We'll go
re-roll.
from there.
There are
Right,
chemicals
so
here, but as you took Wizard's Apprentice as your background,
Yep.
this falls within it, so you can have advantage on this roll again.
Right. Well, again, this will be -1. So the first roll is whatever that was,
That is a 13 minus 1, a 12.
and the second roll is that one.
Okay, a 12 is enough.
Ooh.
It's basically the difficulty things, as far as I'm aware, are like 9, 12, 15, and 18. So it's not you just did it.
Yeah.
No need for a luck to do. It's not going to be very good. I mean, if the Potters had managed to create a magical light source,
Oh,
a
yeah.
chemical light source, they would be marketing it, especially
Mm.
with the gloom of the smoke about. But yeah, you make something. I'm going to let you spend a luck token if you want it to last. I'm going to say it will last 5 minutes, but if you want it to
Right.
last 10 minutes, you can spend a luck token. I mean, that's good. One luck token for double the amount.
I will spend a luck token on that.
Yeah.
But I having sort of tested it in small batches, because I'm not going to use up all my chemicals at once. That would be stupid.
Yeah.
I want to do the final combination of the two things when we're down there, so I get the full 10 minutes of it. So yeah,
That makes
works.
perfect sense. What you do is you create what is commonly known as a binary
Yeah.
thing. They're both together. You just need to shake it together to cause it
Yeah.
to then glow. Beautiful stuff. With that, we move back to Ellie.
Booking it towards Hector.
Okay, you get back, Val, Gideon. Oh, so you're going to Hector. Sorry.
Well, I have been communicated that the plan is to go and distract the creature, so I believe that I
So
need to go.
sorry, I'm getting confused. We're splitting the party up even more.
Mm.
Okay, so we're going to move things along fairly sort of rapidly here. So Ellie, you get back to Hector. Now you need to have in character conversations because Hector might not want to do this idea. So I'm going to let you speak to Hector, role play it out.
Hector, we found a room underneath the big monster thing, and there's some chains, and Gideon's going to grab them while he's wearing the suit and see if he can pin the monster, because Val thinks that's where the book is. So we need to go and distract the whatever it is. It's got like 3 heads or something.
They're gonna. Wait, it's got how many?
3. It's like
It's
a goat and a something else.
They're gonna no. That's Gideon's like. I weigh more than he does, and that monster's huge.
Well, maybe you should go down there and send him up, and he and me can
Look,
distract it. I don't know.
I've managed to combine some chemicals. We've got a light that we can. If I combine this stuff, it'll give us light without fire. which means we can go and check out that passage without necessarily setting ourselves on fire. Before we go and wrestle some giant monster, should we try that out? And I wave the brand new torch around. I've only got one spare of these left. So if we run out of light, we're never getting out of here.
Yeah, I've only got one left too.
So what are we doing? Oh, I will take my chemical light and my torch and my backpack, and I will go back down the passage to try and rally in sort of at
Okay.
least amongst 3 people.
Okay, so if you want to, you can all head back to Val and Gideon. More than happy that. Ellie, you do see these 2 monster mash consuming these multiple arms, kind of feeding these multiple mouths, sort of there. But they don't seem to be paying any attention to you.
All
Are you all?
scurry after Hector.
Yeah, you're all okay. So we'll rally you all together again. As Val and Gideon are patiently waiting for the signal to throw the lever. But instead of that, Ellie and Hector approach.
Oh, it's got 3 heads. It's huge, and you guys want to wrestle it. Look,
It breathes fire too.
yeah. Look, my idea's worked. I've managed to find some chemicals where if I combine them, it can give us a light source without setting us on fire. So we can go and check out that greased passage. I will recount all the stuff in character that we've discussed out of character. I'd like to try that first before we wrestle that thing. And we need to make sure we don't run out of torches.
We have 3 burning at the moment. If we're going to split up to deal with this thing now, then surely while we have our torches burning, would be the best time. Plus, isn't that pretty much the pinnacle of what he's trying to achieve? Surely it's got to be something is behind that sort of area. We could
Must
try
be
and
something
restrain
really good the other way, because why would he put all that grease there?
Death trap.
Now, it's been 2 weeks, and I am, if nothing, but a benevolent GM.
Generous as well, and good looking.
You say all of the nicest things, but I'm going to put another black mark for sucking up to me. Oh, that's 2.
Do
No
right for
teacher's
doing
pet for
wrong
you.
in this game.
No, you can't. No favoritism. What I was going to say is you gathered together a number of items last session. Some of those items might actually be relatively
The
relevant.
syringe.
Yeah. So if you've decided your characters have forgotten about them, that is absolutely fine. But it is my job to say, look, it's been 2 weeks ago. You should be aware of you have these items.
Yeah. It's in Hector's pack, and I'm sure he would have noticed the huge syringe as he's getting stuff in and out.
Shadowdark.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the rules, it specifically says players level up to, and you learn to use all of the resources and the tricks. It's not metagaming. It's the way the game plays.
Yeah.
How about this, Hector? Why don't
Yeah.
you give me the syringe, because maybe I can sneak up on it
Right.
while you're down here pulling on the chains, distracting it by restraining it, and then Val and Gideon, you can maybe Val, you help Hector, and Gideon, you come with me. And
I will point out, in case this hasn't come to anyone, Payne was down here by himself, and he managed to subdue this thing.
well, he had that syringe, right?
Yes, I'll pull it out back. Yes, this syringe here. I didn't lose it.
That syringe in this suit. So
Yeah.
I wonder if I could just walk
let's
up to it.
do-
So, before we troop all the way back up there, and then maybe fail or succeed at that, can we try out the other passage real quick with my chemical light?
But we're going to have to put our torches out to do that. So I'd rather go and try the
No.
And we've got
Chimera.
3 torches burning, so if we're ever, like Gideon said, if we're ever going to split up, this is the time.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but see, the chemicals will give us light without a torch. So if Ellie and I can go and check it out.
Yeah, go.
Or,
And
then
I'll
you guys
take
stay
Gideon
with
and
the
we'll go and
torches.
stab. the
Yeah,
beast.
you got. It's either going to be the passage. Well, let's not completely go opposite directions. If you guys just stay there, Ellie and I can go check this real quick. The passage will either dead end just out of sight, or it'll go into some other chamber, and we can come back to you guys.
Okay.
Because otherwise, we're going to get spread all everywhere and get eaten by something.
So the natural tortures and whoever is staying this side of the black
Grease
oily
tube.
substance have to stay this side. You can make your artificial light and take at least one person
Yeah.
the other side of that line. Right, go. Let's go now. Clock is
Right,
ticking. I
awesome.
completely agree.
Don't forget the step.
Don't forget the step.
Okay, so you, as far as I get it, you move forward to
Yep.
Down the
to
southern
close.
staircase.
Yep, and you pass the torches to Val and Gideon.
Yep.
So because if you extinguish a torch, you can't relight it. It's just it's no use to
What
you
if
anymore.
we dipped it in grease? Why are you laughing at me? There's all this grease all over the walls. It's highly flammable.
Yeah.
If we're ever going to be able to relight a torch, that must be a time.
I'm crossing off a black mark because that is wonderful role playing. So with that, the torches are burning down. You, I suppose, move into the greased area. It
Yes.
is incredibly slippy, far beyond that you anticipated. If you're cautious, you can move down it, but your feet are sliding as if it is the slickest ice rink. And of course, if you try to steady yourself, you're just going to touch the wall, and you soon begin to sort of get this grease all over you.
I've got a spear, and
Yeah.
I will. So here's what I'm going to do. I will combine the chemicals.
Yeah.
I will hand the jar, the bottle, to Ellie, so
Mhm.
that she can see, because she's the one that's got the best point of this. I'm gonna ask first, but I will sort of hold on to her or put my arm around her or whatever, and I'm gonna use my spear as sort of a walking stick, so we can try and work together to get down this path without coming to too much mishap.
Okay. And I would at this point obviously like to remind you that it's only about 3 foot wide and 5 foot, so you can't help but nudge against the wall occasionally
Yeah.
or your head. So this black stuff is sort of, you're getting kind of fairly saturated with it at the moment. It's not damp, it's just sort of like thick diesel grease. You activate your light source and it gives you this dimmish glow. Just for atmosphere, what color is it? What color does it glow?
Purple.
Purple, very nice. You both move forward. You lose sight of Val and Gideon. One is assuming that you are taking all the cautions. You eventually see in the distance what appears to be a door, again metal, and another lever sort of sticking out from the wall. Very similar to previous. You think this door just slides open.
And we've gone in a direction that I don't
Completely
know.
different, yeah. You don't think this is another, going into there.
Check for any traps or obvious things around the mechanism, and then
Perfect. You didn't fall for it. You didn't think, oh, I'll just. Are you frozen? In fact, you have all frozen. Can you hear me? Has Discord
Yep.
broken? No, it's okay, you're back.
Yeah.
You didn't fall for the obvious, which is, I want to get out of this corridor and pull the lever. The lever is indeed trapped, and with a very familiar trap now. It is a
Black
little
powder.
flint and a little
Mhm.
bit of black powder. Had you pulled that lever, the whole tunnel would have gone up. You somewhat coated in it with it. But as before, with the skills that you've got, Ellie,
Getting rid
with
of
your
it.
tools, you very carefully dismantle it.
Tweezers.
It's minute. That's all it would take, is just that little. But with that done, it is disarmed, and you can, should you wish to, pull the lever now.
I will pull the lever. Yes.
Okay, the lever descends, the door opens, and in there is a smallish chamber, only about 10 foot by 10 foot. There is a single column in the centre of the room, and there is what appears to be a chunk of rock sort of there. Small, maybe 1 inch, if not.
Oh.
Right.
You recognize this rock, all of you do. It's a rare mineral that is occasionally found in the pit when they are mining coal. It is something that is known as flangite. It is incredibly powerful, very, very expensive for fueling machines, but it is also incredibly volatile. Incredibly volatile. This hasn't been refined. I mean, this could destroy that beast quite easily if you just decided to throw it in there. That is maybe not what you want to do, because there wouldn't be very much left of the chamber either. But it is also worth an awful lot of coin to the right people. But of course, it's volatile.
You know, Ellie, if you
Yeah,
or I
Hector?
put that in our bag, and then we walk out of here, and we slip, and we fall over, and we fall on top of it, well, there won't be a Val and a Gideon to clean up after us. So why don't we just shut that lever and leave it here, and I'll tell the Potters Guild when and if we ever get back, and they can come and fetch it with the proper equipment, and I'll split the finder's fee amongst us. Because I'd like to live till tomorrow.
Sure.
I'll
How much
reach
longer do we have on this purple light?
We should probably get going. I'll just reach past her and shut the lever on
Yeah.
the door.
That is fine. You don't think the rare mineral was kind of an additional trap? You just think this was protections for it.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is incredible value, and splitting it with one of the guilds will still bring in a sizable amount of coin for you all anyway. So with that, with your shaky light, your purple light beginning to fade, with one or two of your torches also beginning to come to an end, you all rally together again. I'd just like to point out that Ellie and Hector are now caked in this grease. It was almost impossible not to be moving through that tight tunnel.
One of the torches goes out.
Yeah.
In a moment.
Thank
Do the
you very much
monster
for that.
mashers wear clothes?
Yeah, I mean they've got sort of rags on basically. Yeah, that is the torch going out.
Is that mine? That's just
Yeah.
gone out. Okay.
So you've still got two torches lit that you're holding it.
Yeah.
You are all together, but resources, which is what I like, are beginning to burn low. So you have decisions to make. You have a number of different avenues of egress, and I think this is the perfect point to take a break. So
I need a cup of tea,
yeah,
Andy.
no, it's exciting stuff. Hopefully it's exciting stuff. I'm having real fun to see that you're kind of trying to work all of these pieces
You're
together.
enjoying our Benny Hill episode, are you?
Oh, it's great, and you're kind of doing what is right, you know, because at any moment, any of these things, had you threw that torch up onto the grease to try and burn it, of course, that is the simple answer. So I decided that if that was to happen, bad things would happen instead, you know, and you have worked it all out. and of course there was a secondary trap. You've done very, very well as far as I'm concerned, and you've not really spent very many luck points doing it at the
Got a
moment.
brickload of torches, though. You can't burn luck points, can you?
This is it.
Mm.
So, thank you for watching, chat. We'll be back in a moment. Please stay tuned. Bye bye from all of us for now.